Hey guys, Not Pockets here. I wanted to go over this new Town of Salem 2 patch. One of my friends told me that they're finally updating the game. I'm really excited. I scrolled through a little bit. I wasn't going to make a video until I scrolled down and I saw some crazy stuff. So we'll get to that later, but let's just go through this full patch. So this is patch whatever. The notes are for today, so I guess it's either live right now or it goes live later today. So it starts off like this. Hello Town of Salem 2, thank you all for your patience. This is our first major patch since acquiring the game. We've been listening closely and working hard behind the scenes to create an update we believe to not only be worth the wait, but also up to the standards set for us. We plan to be doing more frequent updates from this point on, due to the sheer amount of experimental changes we're introducing. We at Digital Banditos thank you for entrusting us with the future of Town of Salem 2. Yeah, there was a lot of doubt when Digital Banditos picked up the game, so it's good to see that they're making big updates and they're also being receptive to feedback. Like, it was a long time coming for this update. I wasn't really sure what this new company was planning, so I'm excited to see what they do, because honestly updates have been too slow for this game. Straight up, they've just been way too slow. They should be doing more frequently, I think. So hopefully this is the start of that. So right off the bat, added 5 new characters. I don't really care too much about characters personally, but you know, it's cool. As long as I get Pumpkinhead, I'm fine, I'm happy. But we have Urza. This wealthy businessman will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Charlotte, hear the wails of the doomed and the dead as chaos ensues all around. Henschel, stand your ground and strike back at those who oppose you. Gomery, a brilliant poet with no remorse who speaks his mind. And Bingus, while seeming bright and carefree, they seem to know a lot more than they let on. Cool. I mean, new customization is always welcome, so that's cool. I'm a little bit more interested in these new maps. So we have Island, which makes sense. I mean, it's a big circular map. It would make sense that they could be on an island. And then there's Court, which I'm assuming is like a courtroom. Kind of like, I think, Throne of Lies? That was a social deduction game that took place in a courtroom, I think. So these kind of make sense. And that's cool. I like it, because mostly it's just seasonal changes, so I'm excited to see a little bit of a more transformative map that they're creating. So that's cool. And now we have 3 new pets. Santa's Helper, which makes sense. I mean, it's like the holiday season, that kind of makes sense. Swift and Boney. I'm assuming this is like a skeleton type of thing, Boney. I don't know what Swift will be, but we'll just have to, you know, check it out in the shop when that drops, when the update drops. But this is what made me feel like I had to make a video on this. Added 11 new roles. The last time we got changes was 2 new roles. Okay, well, there was changes after that to balance the new roles, but the last time we got new roles was Socialite and Marshall. So, you know, we went from 2 new roles to 11 new roles. I'm glad to see that they weren't really fucking around with that time. They were really brainstorming in that time. So right off the bat, I think they decided to put the most interesting one first, because we have a new neutral killing, which honestly I would rather them just make Shroud not awful, but I mean, another neutral killing is interesting. Like, those are kind of the most exciting roles in the game. Even though, you know, when you roll serial killer, you're like, fuck, I'm losing this game. But enough yap. Bomber, neutral killing. At night, give a player a bomb that explodes at the end of the next night, dealing a powerful attack. If you have been given a bomb, you may pass it to another player by visiting them. The bomb then rampages at that player's house. The last player to hold the bomb is not rampaged. If the bomb is given back to the bomber, it is defused. After 2 successful kills, 1 2x kill rampage counters. Counters? The delay is removed and the bomb explodes right away. A bomber may only have 1 bomb out at a time. Since it is not a unique role, if you pass a bomb to another bomber, it is immediately defused. So night 1 you give someone a bomb, and then night 2 they give that bomb to another person, and they basically get to choose who dies. So it sounds like it's powerful, but it's volatile because you don't really get to choose who dies. But I don't know. I think it might be kind of busted though, because if you get 1 rampage, then you're kind of already ahead of werewolf, and I consider werewolf to be the strongest neutral killing. So like your first kill happens on night 2, and then werewolf starts killing on night 2. Similarly, they both rampage, but if you get 1 rampage kill as the bomber, then you can rampage at someone else's house on night 3, which the werewolf can't do. I guess like maybe their idea is that if you have a bomb, if you're given a bomb, you can communicate to the whole town and say, hey, I have a bomb on me, I'm going to visit Seven's house. Nobody go to Seven's house, just to keep the bomber at bay a little bit longer. But I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna play. It sounds kind of busted. It sounds maybe a little too strong, but also like, I don't know, is neutral killing like all that strong? I mean, I feel like they lose most of the time. So maybe, I don't know. It's interesting for sure. You know, they did say that they're more willing to make changes, so maybe if this proves to be too strong, they'll dial it back. Also, it's not unique. That's kind of crazy. Like, werewolves can rampage each other, but these guys can't. If there's 2 bombers in a game, they probably just win the game, to be honest. Because, like, werewolves' risk reward is that you can get killed by another werewolf. Like, you guys can just kill each other. But these guys, not only do they have, like, the ability to coordinate with each other, like how arsonists can if they find each other. Yeah, this sounds kind of a bit too strong, but we'll just have to see. And now we have a new neutral evil. We have the Merchant. Neutral evil. Spend currency to use abilities. Gain 20 gold passively each night. For each player who targets you, gain an additional 10 gold. At night, spend 20 gold to silence a player, 30 gold to gain basic defense, or wait until daytime to spend 50 gold and rig the next vote. This ability can only be used before a player is voted onto the stand. If a vote is rigged, it flips the result of the vote. Innocent becomes guilty. If a player is voted guilty but rigged to become innocent, prevent them from being voted for the rest of the day. Upon spending 100 gold, leave the town. Huh. This is like a neutral evil potion master. So 20 gold passively, and then 10 for each visit. So this is definitely gonna call for TP lookout night 1 for sure, or day 1. At night, spend 20 gold to silence a player. So you can silence 1 person every day if you choose to. This kind of sounds like serve with like a little bit more agency. I don't know how this is gonna play. Like, I think this kind of favors evil a bit too much. Like, executioners and jesters can haunt and torment evil people, but I think if you're going to say you're doing vote for alignment and you have 50 gold, you're incentivized to rig the vote because you have to spend 100 gold, and rigging spends the most gold. And so if they're doing vote for alignment, you can force a mislinge and end the game, or not the whole game, end the day. Like, it kind of counters vote for alignment. And then I think the only time that you would want to rig a vote to make if someone's being voted guilty, they're probably evil, so it kind of benefits evils because it can spare an evil. But also, like, they don't really have to do that. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely out there. I like that you have so much agency, and the whole ability to flip a trial on its head is super interesting. And it seems like, yeah, you can't be voted for the rest of the day if you're found innocent. via a rig. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't really know how beneficial it is to silence people as this role, but I don't know. It's cool. I think thematically it makes sense. Although I don't know about the basic defense. I don't know, it kind of seems like whatever. Interesting though. Next role, Chef, Town Protective. Feed a player, giving them powerful defense. This decays to basic defense the next night, and then disappears the next night. So is this like... So, well, let's just read the rest, and then we'll think about the rest. We'll think about what that means. Once you have fed someone, you cannot feed them again for the rest of the game. Chef gets 3 charges of this ability. Okay, so what I'm wondering is, say night 1, you feed number 2. Or I guess just for confusion's sake. So night 1, you feed player number 5. So night 2, then that powerful defense becomes basic defense. And then, is it night 3? I guess, yeah. At the end of night 2, that defense disappears. I think. And it doesn't seem like there's a cooldown, so you get 3 charges, but you can't protect the same person. That's kind of interesting because it's like a side grade to Cleric, because Cleric gives powerful defense, but they can heal more often. This gives defense for longer, and I think most of the time you don't need more than powerful defense. It's definitely interesting because, you know, werewolves are out on night 2, so if you heal someone night 1, they no longer have that powerful defense, so the werewolf can break through, and the berserker can break through. It's definitely interesting. I don't think it's that crazy, but there honestly aren't that many town protectives, and I feel like this is a fine side grade. It's nothing too insane. Although having multiple people with defense, you get to protect multiple people at the same time, kind of, which is not really something any other town protect can do. I like it. I'm a fan of this. I think this is a good idea. Gravedigger, Town Support. Mark a player for death. If that player is killed, gain a buff that charges up to 3 times. This is not capitalized. Upon reaching 3 charges, choose to become any town role. This can bypass unique roles. Upon reaching 3 charges, choose to become any town role? That sounds insane. What? Like Soul Collector, you need to get 6 souls. Well, okay, actually you get 1 passively and then an additional 1. So ideally, if you guess right as Soul Collector, you get 2 souls each night. So night 1 you get 2 souls, night 2 you get 2 souls, night 3 you get 2 souls. Realistically, that's not gonna happen. I guess yeah. I mean, Soul Collector doesn't really, I find it doesn't transform that often. So maybe that's why they felt comfortable doing this. I'm assuming death by hanging doesn't count, but this sounds like it's gonna be broken, to be honest. Especially because you can communicate with, you know, not jesters. You can communicate with vigilantes, and I don't know, how would it work with jailers? I actually don't know what the Soul Collector Jailer synergy is. But imagine there's just 2 jailers, like, because you could just have multiple of unique roles, I guess. That sounds kind of busted. It's interesting though, because for most of the game, this role does nothing. And I think in most scenarios, this role will do nothing. And then you have to understand what you need to win at any state of the game. Like, if you have to make it to endgame and then turn into like a jailer, most likely. Jailer is probably the best thing that you can turn into. But maybe in some scenarios you're like, oh, I have to turn it into the marshal so I can hang the next 2 people because I'm in a 2v1 right now. Okay, and now our next role is target dummy. Town support, select 2 players and force them to target you that night. If they're in attacking role, they're informed they have been taunted. This is just like old Trickster, but like worse, because you don't even like attack back. Why would you ever want this? Why would you ever want to do this? This actually has to be contender for like worst role in the game. I really don't. What's the what's the point? Like, I guess you could take a town protect and a town killing and send them into yourself, but like, why? Why would you ever want to do that? You'd be better off just having the town killing just like chill. And I mean, I guess you could confirm like a vigilante and a cleric at the same time, but like, I don't know. This is dumb. At best, you like create a 1-for-1. Like you taunt the coven killing and I don't know, a tavern keeper into yourself. And then it's like, well, one of these 2 guys is the coven killing. You just create a 1-for-1, but like you have to die in the process. You're just like a worse seer. I don't know. That sounds really, really bad. It actually has to be worse than Coroner. It has to be. There's no way. I don't even know how they would have to change this to make it actually work. Anyways, next rule, Spotter, town support. Mark someone each night. At night, you can choose to trigger your marks, allowing the marked players to see each other's exact roles. Huh. So it's kind of like an admirer, but kind of you select 2 people to become admirers, except they're also not life-linked. It's like a side grade to admirer. I don't really know if I like this role. There's really not there's not a whole lot of roles that let you see exact roles, especially town roles. It's basically just admirer. And I don't know if you can, I wonder if you can mark yourself. I feel like probably not, because the obvious play would just be to mark yourself and then mark the town power and then trigger the marks. But also at the same time, you're spending 3 days to get a pretty negligible impact. Like that's something that Admirer couldn't do in 1 night. I don't know. I don't know if this will be good. It kind of takes a long time to set up for a decent payoff. I don't know. And even then, if you only mark 2 people, then you just create like a 1-for-1. If you mark, you know, a bodyguard and a Dreamweaver, it's just like, it just becomes a 1-for-1 at that point. But I don't know. I guess it's not terrible. I don't know. It's a powerful effect to see someone's exact role, but it takes a long time to get that effect, so maybe it's not overpowered. Maybe it's fine. It might even be underpowered. Next role, Purifier, town support. Choose a player to cleanse their debuffs. This takes effect first at nighttime. Some effects that can be cleansed are Hangover, Insomnia, Doom, Poison, Douse, Hex, Spread. Plague cannot be cleansed. However, the Purifier does not spread plague upon becoming infected. This kind of just seems like Spy's best friend, to be honest. Imagine being a baker and having your bread cleansed. That would suck. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to them having bread be something that can't be cleansed. Plague makes sense, because if you could cleanse plague, then you'd never be able to transform. Someone would always be, you'd always be 1 short. And plague is not overpowered enough to have someone hard counter them. And I feel kind of the same about Baker. Like, Baker is not so strong that it needs to be directly targeted. Being able to cleanse Doom, though, is crazy. That's honestly really cool. I guess I don't really have a problem with that, because they were messing around with the idea of the Doomsayer only being able to doom like 1 person, like only 1 person dies or something like that. So this at least lowers the killing power of Doom yet again, but also doesn't stop Dooms from winning. And I do like that it seems as though with most of these designs, they're trying to get away from like very obvious hard confirmed roles. like how Socialite was. Like Socialite was immediately present. Like you couldn't really fake claim Socialite. Like these can be kind of fake claimed. Like Spy, you could just say, "Oh yeah, I bugged 7, nothing happened." You could do the same thing as Purifier and be like, "Yeah, I purified 7." And then they'd be like, "Proof?" And you'd be like, "I don't know." I'm maybe doing something. Like this honestly is a very low impact role, to be honest. Like you don't really guarantee that there's an arsonist or a hexmaster or a poisoner or a baker or whatever. So, you know, I think in most scenarios this role does nothing. I mean, I guess you could chain role block people, right? I don't know if I like that, because I know when you could do that easily in Town of Salem 1, and now it takes 2 rolls to do that. And even then, there's Necronomicon passing, so it's not even as strong anyway. It's fine, I guess. It's also probably weak. So let's check out the next one. Poet, Town Support. Talk to a player anonymously during the nighttime. If the selected player is killed while talking at night, hide their will. I don't know. I don't really know how good this would be. You're kind of like a jailer with no roll block, no killing power. Like, I don't really know what need you have to hide their will. If it's anonymous, you could say, "I'm 7, hello." Like, and since you're town, you have no incentive to lie. Why would you lie about your number? I don't know. I don't really know what use this role serves. I mean, I guess you could communicate and confirm yourself pretty easily. But other than that, you kind of don't really do a whole ton. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really understand the whole hide their will bit. Alright, next. Medium, bro, they brought Medium back? He's a town investigative now? Seance a dead player to see a log of all their visits. Additionally, see a list of all the evil spirits they had encountered. So, if you seance a poisoner who role blocked the serial killer, you can see who the serial killer is. And I guess if you seance a potion master, you can see all the people that they revealed or healed. I think it's going to be more beneficial to do this on evil rolls, like coven rolls, because you can deduce who's not coven. But I guess as an additional bonus, you can see, I'm assuming by evil spirits they mean evil rolls. So if your crusader dies to a hexmaster, you see the hexmaster. If they were also silenced at some point, you could see that they were silenced. If they were visited by a soul collector, well, actually, I don't know, because it's astral. I don't really know how that would work. I don't know how it would interact with astral visits. But I guess if they were doused or plagued or targeted by an X, you would know that. Because it's not specifically that they visited them. It's just that they encountered. So they were either... So if in the log, you see that they visited the tracker claim, and then the evil spirits list says that there's a werewolf in there, it's like, okay, well that tracker has probably got to be the werewolf. Like you can kind of make some educated guesses with this. It seems fine. I think a lot of the times the log is going to be redundant, but this is going to be good. Alright, next role, Idiot. They just really named this guy Idiot? Idiot, town investigative. Cannot target anyone, but visits a random player each night. At the end of the night, they are given 2 roles, one of which is in the game, one of which is not in the game. The idiot does not know which is which. If someone is enchanted, they will always visit that person, and both roles shown will not be in the game. If someone is illusioned, if they happen to visit them by chance, both roles shown will not be in the game. I don't know how to feel about this one. Having exact roles be listed is kind of a slippery slope, and it's kind of why Investigator was changed to be the version that we see today, as opposed to the Town of Salem 1 version. I think Town of Salem 1 version was more so about, you know, restricting claim space and that sucking. because now you could just claim anything as anybody, and I think that's great. And as an idiot, if you say I'm an idiot and I'm an idiot, and in my night one idiot vision there's either a crusader or a vigilante, if one person is actually the vigilante, you can't just say I'm the Cruz. I'm Cruz, vigilante's fake. Like, you can't steal that fake claim because you'll just get shot. I don't know. I don't really know how good this will be. Like, I think this would be broken on set role lists, but fine in all any. So I don't really know how that would work. It seems like it'll be powerful, but it seems like it'll also be pretty easy to fake claim. And I wonder if this idiot is tracked, if the person that they're tracked to, like the person that they randomly happen to visit, if that is the guaranteed role. Like, I'm assuming he doesn't know where he goes to, but if he's tracked to number 5 and 5 is that trapper, then in the trapper, or in the idiot vision, okay, let's say there's an idiot and the tracker tracks him to 9's place. 9 is actually the coven leader, but the idiot vision says there's either a coven leader or an arsonist in the game, and then you're kind of boned. I don't think that's that bad, because a sheriff can just say this guy's sus. So honestly, I don't think it's that overpowered. I do think it'll be overpowered for confirming like townies on set role lists, but I think in all any, which is pretty much what I play, this will be fine. But I don't really know how the idiot's visits, if they're relevant to the results that he get. But the next role is Loose Cannon. They're a town killing, blast summon at night starting from night 2. If an evil is blasted, gain another blast. After successfully blasting an evil roll, your next blast gains powerful attack. You cannot attack the same target twice in a row. Upon killing a member of the town, lose your ability. This is just vigilante. This is just vigilante with less consequences. I don't really get the whole point of it. Also, like, you can't attack the same target twice in a row. Like, I think I get why that's in place, because if you shot the serial killer night 1, you would just go back and finish the job because you successfully shot an evil roll. But I guess at the same time, it doesn't really matter, because vigilantes will just say, hey, I'm vigilante, I shot 7, 7's immune. And then they'll just get hung that same day. So I feel like not being able to target the same person twice in a row is a little bit redundant, because chances are they're just gonna get hung anyway. So like, why not just let them shoot the same person twice in a row and just finish him off? I mean, I think objectively this is just a better vigilante, I think. Because if you kill a town member as a vigilante, you just die. So at least at this point, you don't die and you're kind of like a jailer who lost their exes and can't do anything. I think there has to be more risk involved. Like, for a role that's called Loose Cannon, it's kind of tame. Like, I think they would need to add a little bit more risk in order to really make it thematically fit the name. But I don't see anything problematic about it, because it is still just basically vigilante. I don't know. Seems fine, but kind of unnecessary. Okay, balance changes. So that's all the roles. Was that really 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. That felt like less than 11, but I guess we have been here for a while. Okay, balance changes. Dreamweaver. Probably everyone's least favorite evil role, so let's see how they fixed him. Keep your target awake all night, disabling their daytime ability for the following morning and inflicting insomnia. They will become insomniac at the end of the next night unless visited by a town member. So that kind of sounds like... So that's very similar. Keep your target awake all night, disabling their... Oh, okay. So the daytime ability being disabled is the same. It happens right after you're visited. So the next morning, you can't use your daytime ability. And I'm assuming that continues if you do happen to become Insomniac. This kind of makes sense because I know a lot of people complain about Town of Salem 2 feeling like whack-a-mole with town powers popping out. I think this sounds like a great change because, you know, Dreamweaver actually could disable daytime abilities if you let someone become Insomniac, which never happened, by the way. Absolutely never happened under any circumstances. And even then, if your idea was to say somebody claims town power day one, even if you had a Voodoo Master and you use Dreamweaver Voodoo Master combo on them to, you know, silence them and hopefully turn them Insomniac so they can't reveal as the mayor later on, like, because they already claimed town power, because they already shared the info that leads you to believe that they have a daytime ability worth canceling, the town protects are already going to be on that guy. So they're never going to become Insomniac even if they're silenced. Like, Insomniac just never comes into effect. So I think moving that unique ability that the Dreamweaver has to the forefront makes it at least better. I don't know if it's going to be good. And I do think it actually allows some evils to fake claim town power. You could claim to be town power and be like, oh guys, I was visited by a Dreamweaver. Sorry, I can't reveal as the mayor right now. Because usually, you know, town power claims, if you're evil, is a last resort. You're just trying to buy yourself one day. This could actually let you get away with a little bit and increase some... It could discredit some town power claims if a Dreamweaver plays it right. I don't know. I think it's cool. I like this change. Illusionist. Illusions now last until triggered by a town investigative or used to bypass a trapper or bodyguard. Okay, I think that seems fine to me. It's kind of like a spy bug, but with illusions. I like this change because sometimes there's a sheriff in the game and you already know that, so you're more inclined to illusion the non-book holders so they don't get busted by the sheriff, but also it's always good to illusion the coven killing so they don't get killed by like a random trap or a bodyguard or whatever. Sometimes you're just kind of put in a lose-lose situation and you're like, oh god, I wish I could bug you guys both, but I can't. I think that'll alleviate that sort of lose-lose situation you can feel like you're put in. And I don't think Illusionist is really all that strong. It'll make their effect more pronounced. And I think that's good because honestly, Illusionist can feel pretty underwhelming to play. And it'll at least give you some feedback on, you know, the effect that you have on a match. Because sometimes you don't really notice when your illusions pay off. I mean, I think you should, because chances are, if you illusion someone and they're checked by the sheriff and they show as Inno, then that's feedback right there. But I guess it'll also inadvertently give you info on fake town investigatives. If there's a psychic that claims to visit the potion master who's illusioned and that illusion is still there, you're like, I know that psychic's fake. I know that's the berserker right there. I don't think this makes Illusionist that much better, but still better. Maybe Illusionist games will feel more like Illusionist games. I think it might be a little bit frustrating for town investigatives, but honestly, I think it's fine. I think maybe this makes Illusionist a little bit less skillful, but I think their floor of impact is increased. Okay, now for Bodyguard. Removed one vest. You may now equip a vest while visiting at night to gain basic defense. So you can vest and protect somebody? I think that's kind of nice. Low-key, it sucks when you're Bodyguard and you hard read who's going to get attacked, and you still die in a 1-for-1 despite knowing what was going to happen and making the right play. Like, it kind of sucks to be punished for making the right play, even though 1-for-1s almost always benefit town. But this will at least give you a little bit more agency, and it'll increase the skill ceiling on Bodyguard, because honestly, what do you need 2 vests for as Bodyguard? Like, why would you really even do that? if you ever vest and get attacked, like that's still a death sentence. If you ever have a vest in your will, you're probably gonna get hung for that. So I guess might as well just get rid of them, but not completely. I think it's a nice way to rework a mechanic that he already has. And now Shroud. Holy yep, this is a big change. Reworked the shrouding mechanic. Shrouding a player no longer deals a basic attack if they are a non-visiting role. A shrouded player remains shrouded until the new target is selected or until the shroud disables the effect. If a player is shrouded, anyone they visit is dealt a basic attack as normal. However, if this player is a non-visiting role, one of their visitors will be dealt a basic attack. So, if I'm understanding this right, when you shroud someone, that's permanent until either someone else is selected or the shroud. I wonder if it lasts after the shroud dies. Surely not, right? That doesn't really make sense. That's kind of cool. It at least increases the shroud's killing power, because if they can have someone be shrouded and kill for them, as well as being able to visit and directly attack people, it at least makes him not the slowest neutral killing. That probably goes to Arsonist, but at least Arsonist remains undetected. It's almost like having a jinx on you if you're shrouded and don't visit. So I guess if you can shroud a town power claim and then you basically jinx all the visitors to that target. You know what? I actually really like this, because say you get shrouded and you visit someone and then they die to the shroud and you're like, huh, I think I'm shrouded. Therefore, I'm going to choose to visit the sus people so that they get killed, or I could choose to not visit and then attack people who are going to visit me. I think this is pretty cool. It's similar to the idea with like the bomber, right? Where you have a little bit of agency as the target of the shrouding. Like if you're given a bomb versus a bomber, like you have one day that you can do something. Like if you're shrouded and you know that you're shrouded, you have a choice of, do I want to kill someone or do I want to stay home to avoid potentially killing someone? And then if you're just never visiting, then the shroud could be like, well, shit, maybe I'll shroud someone else now. Although I think at that point, you might as well just keep basic attacking people. He gets basically like double kills from night 2 onward, which I mean, I guess is kind of volatile because it depends what the person who's shrouded does. And if people visit that guy, I don't know. It's cool. I like it. I think this is a good change. Amnesiac. Gain basic defense for the first night of the game. No longer automatically remembers a role during the day, and it is now a daytime ability. Attempting to remember a role happens at the start of nighttime. Okay, I mean, that's kind of what a lot of people have been suggesting. I haven't seen anything about the basic defense for the first night, but it makes sense because it sucks to die as an amnesiac and not have done anything. And I think inadvertently, this gives people with defense the ability to claim amnesiac if they're attacked night 1. Sometimes you're the X and you're attacked night 1 and you're like, well, guess I'm boned. So this at least increases a little bit of fake claim potential, kind of like how Trickster showed as sus. You could claim to be Trickster and people will be like, I don't know, maybe. Like this kind of locks you into a fake claim that may or may not be good. A volatile fake claim depending on what shows up in the graveyard. I like it. I think this is fine. This is a pretty safe change. Next is Vigilante. Removed the Hangman. Vigilante now dies at the end of the next night. Surely they don't mean like the Hangman himself, like the whole mechanic is gone, right? Like I'm sure Deputy, if they shoot a townie, they still get attacked by the Hangman or whatever. I think this is the same way that it works in Town of Salem 1, right? Like you can kind of make up for your misplay by acting like a target that the Coven should kill, and then they basically waste a kill by attacking the Vigilante who was already dying anyway. It makes it a little bit less punishing. I don't really know why they changed it. Maybe Blank Media had a good reason for changing it, but since it's Digital Banditos, maybe they're like, fuck it, let's bring it back. Because maybe they don't know the same things that Blank Media had once known. I don't know. And then Lookout, no longer Astral. That's fair. Lookout was probably the second most powerful town investigative, like next to Seer. Like I'd probably put Seer and then the Lookout, because like Astral, like being Astral is super nice. Like if two Lookouts went on the same person, they would confirm each other. If you were tracked, you would confirm each other. Like I don't think Astral was really necessary. I actually don't know how Astral works. There were a lot of ways to confirm a Lookout just by them being Astral, and I don't think they really needed to be so easily confirmed. Like, I don't really have a problem with this change. Although Coroner temporarily removed. They just said, you know what? I don't know, dude. I don't know how to balance this role. Like, fuck it. Which honestly, like, makes sense because Coroner and Investigator kind of fulfill the same niche of finding killers who have already killed. Like Sheriff can find killers before they're killers. Like you find the non-Coven killing, Investigator finds the Coven killing and the neutral killings. Like Sheriff and Investigator complement each other, but Coroner and Investigator kind of are two sides of the same coin. They kind of fulfill the same role, but Investigator was just more broad, which kind of benefits you more often. Because Coroner was slower, but you get more concrete info, like the exact role of the Coven killing. But really that was the only advantage that you get. Like, what does it really matter if you find this is definitively the serial killer versus this guy just kills somebody? Like, anybody that kills somebody is probably evil. And even if you find the vigilante, you just confirmed a vigilante. Like, normally as Coroner, you wouldn't want to autopsy the vigilante kill, because, like, that's not really going to help you. Like, Investigator just across the board is kind of better than Coroner, so maybe they just said fuck it. And honestly, I think the where's Medium? Like, Medium and Coroner kind of... I don't know why they didn't just make Medium into a Coroner rework. I think that would have been more sensical, but... I don't know. Maybe they have ideas for Coroner and they're just not implemented yet, or maybe it was too buggy and they wanted to push this update fast. But that also doesn't really make sense because we waited a hot minute for this change, so it seemed like they kind of wanted it. I don't know if they wanted it to be perfect or they just wanted it to be complete and full of big things. So I don't know. Maybe this will happen in one of their foretold later updates. But that seems like most of it. Now improvements. Anonymous mode has been updated to once again hide the username of the players who have this setting enabled. It has also been moved from the personalized menu to the options menu. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know this was a setting. I didn't even know that this was not... I thought this was always in the game. You may now open a dead player's will while the body discovery phase is ongoing. Thank you! Yeah! Wow! Thank you. That's like the only thing that Town of Salem 1 had over Town of Salem 2. Is when they're like, oh, this guy died from the serial killer. It's like, wait, let me see that will again? What the fuck did he just say? Run that back real quick. So that's gonna be just straight up convenient. Reworked achievements that require you to be witched into yourself. Honestly, that makes sense. Cause like, if you're playing a witch, if you're witching a tracker or something, like, it would be more beneficial to track somebody else rather than the tracker that he's already posted. So you probably already know that he's tracker. Like, I don't even know why you would witch that guy. But like, okay, if you witch a vigilante, you could witch him into another town member and get a double kill rather than witching him into himself and just getting one kill. Like, playing witch optimally. So I feel like those achievements are just unlikely to happen unless you go out of your way to give them to people as the witch. Improved layout of the cauldron. I'm assuming that's like the microtransaction stuff. That stuff is crazy. There's a square in like every corner that's like, buy a new thing, buy the super cauldron, buy a potion, buy this car, buy these gamer subs, use code NotPockets. Like, it's kind of insane. So this change kind of makes sense, but I don't really know how you would improve it. I don't know. I'll just have to check it out. And then further improvements to loading performance. Cool. And then Bug fixes fixed an issue that caused lobbies to be created with 30 players. How have I never seen? I've never seen or heard of that before, but that sounds kind of amazing. But I guess when you think about it, if there's a lobby with 30 players, the first like 15 you could click on, and then the other 15 after that, you just can't click on them. You can't interact with them in game. Does it even work in game? I don't even know. But the idea of it is funny, and I would like to see it in action. Unfortunately, it's gone now. And then fired Not Pockets from the Digital Banditos balancing team. Wait, fired Not Pockets from the Digital Banditos balancing team? I didn't even know that I worked at this place until I was fired. What? They fired me from a place that I don't even work at? Can I still put that on my resume though? Like, and then there's also stability fixes. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good update, other than the part where I got fired. Yeah, I'm excited to see how these changes play out. For some reason, my copy of Town of Salem hasn't updated yet, so, you know, that's weird. But whenever this update drops, I'll be the first to let you guys know, and I'll make a video on it.